This happened quite some time ago, when I was still attending school, back in '96, in Klang. It was an old school, located in the outskirts of the town in Malaysia. Easily 100 years in history by now since it was established by the Reverend and his wife. There is usually this unsettling aura that you get with old schools. And believe me when I say that mine was no exception. Until today, I still get nightmares whenever I think about what happened back on September 29th, 1996. Normally, after school, we would hang around until the school bus arrives at about 6:30 p.m. to pick us up. School finishes at 6 p.m, so there was plenty of time in between for some small games and whatnot. I remember I hated Wednesdays in particular, as it was hide and seek day, and we would usually play behind this old building before the classes were shifted to the new ones, as the doors were not locked, which leaves plenty of spaces to hide. The building has been left vacant for a good 10 years, and believe me, nothing in it was functional. Maybe except for that white piano on the first floor, come to think about it. It was an old and dusty piano, with chips of paint peeling from one side, and a carved figure of a lady in the middle. There was a legend of sorts, told by the older students, that the piano belonged to a girl who was brutally murdered after her last performance in the national piano competition. The neighbours who discovered her body in their backyard said that she was naked and her skin pale as snow, with nothing on the body except for this red strand of thread hanging loose over her wrist. There weren't any signs of bleeding, but she looked as if all the blood from her body was drained out and hung dry. The old lady in the neighbourhood said that the girl has met the one behind the bushes, but I had no idea what she was talking about. It was on a Wednesday when this happened. This might explain why I hate Wednesdays. And I figured, since I was the loser who kept getting discovered first, I will hide in the old bathroom, located near the bushes, deeper into the old building. I was certain that Emery, my best friend, would not have taken the trouble to go through the cobwebs, as she hates spiders.
10, 9, 8, 7.
As she counted, I snuck my way through the cracks of the door, and I hid inside one of the old rooms, full of bat shit and whatnot, and I started questioning myself, whether it's worth the limited edition strawberry cheesecake Chupa Chups that was at stake. Whatever it is, I kept as quiet as I could, since I'm already in it. Minutes had passed, and I have not heard any footsteps or shouting that came from afar. Usually, if someone gets found, they would have shouted, and the rest of us would have gotten out from their hiding space. It's close to 20 minutes now, and I started regretting my decision of hiding in that godforsaken place, and I came out to look for them. "Hey, where are you guys? Hello?" I started shouting, but the only thing I could hear is the echo of my own voice coming from the end of the building. "This isn't funny anymore, okay? Stop hiding." This went on, probably for a good 10 minutes, with me circling the perimeters of the old building. Then, I saw that none of the school bags were on the bench, except for my own. I suddenly came to the realization that I had been left behind in the building. They must have left with the bus and left me behind. I was now officially all alone, and I didn't know what to do. It was close to 7:30 p.m. now, and the sky was getting dark. I really missed Suri's chicken rice and hoped dearly that I was home and eating it and watching Power Rangers instead of being stuck in this creepy place. My parents were on a business trip to Indonesia and would not return home until the week after. If they knew about this, I would be dead, I mumbled to myself as I strolled around the building. Little did I know that the worst was yet to come. As the mosquito attacks got worse, I decided to rest in one of the old classrooms, which was near to the hall where the piano was, as it looked less creepy than the rest. Cold, hungry and tired, I closed the doors, and eventually I fell asleep. I awoke at about 2 a.m. in the morning after feeling as if someone had blown wind into my ears. What the? I was still in a daze, and I thought that I was home. But clearly, I was still stuck in that same classroom. Except that this time, the front door cracked open a little. I remembered that I shut it tight before I went to sleep to prevent the mosquitoes from coming in. How the hell did it open? It must be the wind, I figured. There was something unusual that happened as well. I lost my watch, but clearly heard 2 beeping sounds that woke me up, hence the 2 a.m. estimate. It was an old Casio watch given to me by my mother, and I found my watch to be replaced by a strand of red thread. It was not just any normal, bracelet-looking red thread. It was really long and wrapped around my wrist and flowing downwards, as if it was leading to somewhere. I was really curious as to where it leads me, but at the same time, I really wanted my watch back. It was given to me as a present when I won the spelling bee contest, and I figured, wherever this red string is leading to, my watch has to be there. So, I finally gathered all of my courage and took my first few steps out of the classroom. The path of the red thread, it seemed to lead down the stairs, so I slowly rolled up the thread with my fingers into a small, little red ball before I walked down the stairs into the dark hallway. For a good 300 meters, I rolled and rolled and followed the trail. My heart was palpitating off my chest, and by now, plenty of times, I really just wanted to give up. But I figured since I've gone this far, I might as well finish off what I'd started. As I turned over the corner of the building, the red thread finally came to an end. To my surprise, there was nothing at the end of the trail, except for a large banana tree that was making a lot of noises when the wind blew against its leaves. When I walked closer to look, I saw that my missing watch was there, alongside a plate of chicken rice and strawberry chupa chups at the side. Quickly, I grabbed my watch and the chicken drumstick and made my way back into the classroom. I knew that it probably wasn't a good idea, but I was hungry as hell. And anyway, it was probably just some offerings the Chinese placed there during their prayer ceremony. As I was walking back, I felt as if someone was looking at me from behind. I was scared as shit nonetheless, but curiosity got the better of me. and I turned behind to have a look. I regretted my decision immediately. It was a faceless young lady with long hair, and she was reaching out her hands to me. I quickly ran back into the classroom and had all the doors shut. I even threw away the drumstick I stole earlier, and I hid under the chairs and tables. It was close to 3 a.m. now, and I am alone, hungry, and above all terrified. Somehow, I felt these doors will never be enough to protect me, but I locked them up anyway to give myself a false sense of security. I fell asleep again at about 4 a.m., but it was not long until I heard loud noises coming from the hall where the piano was. I naively thought that someone had come back to save me. But when I heard the piano start playing, chills went down my spine. Who, in their right mind, would be playing the piano if his intention was to save a lost child? The music that came out, it was anything but melodious. It was sudden, irregular, and off tune. It was as if somebody was trying to warn me that I was indeed in serious danger. When the music stopped, I quietly peeped out of the window to see who was playing across in the hall. Her eyes immediately caught mine, and I quickly sprung back into the building.
I heard that you liked my song and the drumstick.
I really wanted to die at that point. The songs will come in every 5 to 10 minutes. But what struck me the most was the times when the piano was silent. If she isn't playing the piano, then where is she? Is she wandering around the building, looking for me? What does she want from me? Will she scratch open my stomach and devour my intestines once she found me? This went on in my head for quite a while, until the piano stopped playing for a good half an hour. I thought, since it's already 5:30 a.m., I could possibly make it out safe. Just as I was starting to get comfortable with that thought, I heard it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
I panicked. It didn't sound anything close to Emery's voice. It had a high-pitched whispering sound, similar to that voice that called out my name earlier, yet at the same time, deep and guttural. I crawled back into the cupboard, and I just hoped that thing would just kill me instantaneously, if it managed to find me. I was already on the verge of pissing my pants as the count got closer to 1, when suddenly, off to my right,
I found you.
I passed out immediately, and I couldn't remember any details that followed then after. Apparently I was discovered by the school guard in the cupboard, and he'd brought me back home after my maid got panicked and called my parents. They then made an emergency call to the headmistress, which ordered the guards to search for me in the school compound. After several failed attempts at the new building, they proceeded to search in the old building, and there I was, saved by the bell. I seriously would not want to imagine if they hadn't found me, but it did.